Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana-Salakaya Chakshranmritam Nena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. If you want Krishna's mercy, although we are very, very tiny and fallen souls, we are not hopeless. Our hope is the mercy of the holy names. If you want Krishna's mercy, place yourself in the hands of the holy names and give up any sense you have of being the controller, even of your spiritual experience. All you can do is to listen carefully to your chanting and allow your consciousness to touch the holy names. We must bathe ourselves as well as our mind, intelligence, false ego, material consciousness in the nectar of Krishna's names. Do you feel discouraged when you chant? Is chanting too hard? Your mind or body tired? Good. It means you have no qualification and that you have only Krishna to depend on. Now you are free to try your best to serve Krishna by chanting his holy names. Question and answers. I notice with this one mantra approach that it takes me longer to chant. I am afraid that it will now take me forever to chant my rounds. I could answer this question in several ways. Is there a problem with chanting forever? Or I could suggest that you chant one mantra attentively and the rest inattentively. That is definitely a choice you can make. But I think you'll find that once the mind quiets, your chanting will naturally speed up. At the same time, you have to find a balance. Finding the balance between the physical, mental, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual is in itself difficult. But fortunate are those who can successfully harmonize the elements of their life with their deepest spiritual aspirations. It can take longer to chant, but if it does, it means that all these years we have probably been chanting without listening. This is why we continue to get the same result from our chanting. There is such a difference between chanting with attention and chanting without it. The effect on the consciousness is like night and day. I think everyone has that experience. So I cannot say that you should not offer services other than chanting. And neither can I say that you should chant inattentively. So you will have to find a balance. Theoretically, it takes the same amount of time to chant an inattentive round as it does to chant an attentive round. Although practically attentive rounds may take a little longer at first, but once the mind has become addicted to the taste of the holy names, chanting will be faster and easier. How do we deal with the mind's constant chatter? No matter what happens, bring the mind back to the same simple focus. And don't worry about the mind. If you do worry about it, it will alternately criticize and praise you. By the end, you will be confused and the mind will have gone on to something else. Don't worry about anything other than hearing. Choose the speed of your chanting so that the mind has less room to escape and is forced to stay focused on its simple task of listening to the next word, the next mantra. Question. I become disturbed when I chant among other devotees. I find I cannot concentrate. It may be better for you to sit a little apart while you chant. If that's not possible, then simply concentrate on the holy names and use the disturbance to drive you deeper attention. When something disturbs us, we can superficially force the mind to take shelter of the holy names. We may be good devotees, but when someone does something we really don't like, our fangs grow and we become angry. At such times, we have to ask ourselves where our actual shelter lies. Next question. How do I maintain chanting in the mode of goodness when my other services require so much passion? When you are chanting your rounds, you should allow your consciousness to become absorbed in Krishna's holy name. Then, when you have other services to perform, you will see your work as seva. Arjuna had to fight on a battlefield. That means he had to become angry. How else could he fight? We too have to fight in the service of Prabhupada's movement, but we should do it as seva, as Krishna's instruments. As soon as the false ego rises and wants credit and prestige, wondering why others don't acknowledge our hard work and all that we have accomplished, then we are not trustworthy enough for Krishna to allow us into his most private chambers. We're not actually servants. The first step in dealing with this problem is to accept our role as servants. Then everything we do will be service. How do we keep this consciousness and not allow the passion that comes naturally from dealing with the material world affect us? Chant at least 16 good rounds every day. Chanting good quality, attentive rounds is probably the best thing we can do. It will give us a chance to survive the attack of the modes of nature. Next question. I find it much easier to focus in difficult situations, such as when I am on Sankirtan, than when the atmosphere is too pleasant. How do I become a serious chanter even when I'm not facing challenges? We have to first understand that the material world is designed to give us difficulty. We'll not be able to avoid it. We'll get old, if nothing else, and then one day we'll face the difficult task of dying. Therefore, I will rephrase the question: how can I understand the seriousness of Krishna consciousness? And there are two ways. Perhaps the most important way is to know what Krishna consciousness is. Krishna consciousness is about serving Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. It is so sweet, but we miss out on this most wonderful thing because we are enamored by Maya and therefore remain complacently in the mode of goodness. If we are fortunate enough to have a naturally peaceful mind, we should use it to reach Krishna. Please use it to attain that most wonderful person. In order to get real taste for Krishna consciousness, carefully study Srila Prabhupada's books. We should also associate with serious devotees, and perhaps they will share with us some of the jewels of the sweetness of the relationship between Radha and Krishna and Vrindavan. Your question is sincere and open hearted. On the one hand, you will be pushed by the material energy. You should know that I never thought I would get old. When I was 20, I used to say, never trust anyone over 30. When can I say, what can I say now? Perhaps never trust anyone under 50. The material energy is relentless. By continuing with your Sankirtan service, certainly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will give you so much mercy. Beautiful question and answer session. I'll stop here. So there's nothing much to summarize because they're very straightforward questions and answers. There is mentioned like how if we want to get Krishna's mercy, we have to always think ourselves that we are the most unqualified. We should not think that we are the controller of anything. When we think we can control something, then we cannot get Krishna's mercy much. So we have to think ourselves we are the most unqualified, and we have to fully dependent on Krishna. It's not like we have to partially depend on Krishna and partially we have to like keep for ourselves, like okay, we can do this. No, we have to fully depend on Krishna, have full faith on Krishna, then only we can progress in our bhakti or devotional activities. And so many questions and answers are there, like how mostly to for the mind, like sometimes we take while chanting, we take very long time, so we have to like we think okay, if one round is taking this much time and 16 rounds, when I'll be able to complete it. We should not think that if we'll control our mind, we'll make our mind quiet, then we can chant little faster. It mentioned that initially it will take more time, but once we'll get habituated to it and mind becomes quiet, then we can chant like little faster. And the most important thing in chanting is we have to just listen. We have to listen what we are chanting, the words, and always want to train our mind to listen the words and to listen the next mantra, and give very less room for the mind to escape easily. Yeah, those are the things, and it's mentioned like we have to read Srila Prabhupada books, we have to associate with devotees,